Unplugging from the matrix, a term used to describe unplugging from society and revolting and taking a new outlook on life. If there was anyone that we can say that has been so successful of doing so, it will have to be Dante. Dante, you may ask, whom? Dante bloody Carver. Dante Carver. Remember the name. The story of a New York, Brooklyn-born chap who went over to Japan and dominated. Dante Carver, best of Japan.
The Japanese mobile phone ad features an average Tokyo family with some quirks. Dad is a dog. Eldest brother, not Japanese.
What about people back at home when they first found out about you wanted to become an actor in Japan? What were some of the critics? What about critics in general?
That's actually one of the biggest reasons I came here. It was always, you can't do it because you're black, as if I didn't know that. You don't speak the language, you're not Japanese. It's like, okay, so are those deterrents? Is that supposed to stop me from what I want to do? Because, it's not going to.
Meet Dante Carver, an African-American actor and New York native who, according to Japan's top marketing research company, is Japan's #1 TV commercial actor. A stunning achievement for a non-Japanese.
And they have an award for top talent and actor, and I won it 3 times. And the first time I won it, the person that had it was basically the king of it for 8 years straight.
Hi.
Does that happen to you a lot?
Yeah.
That's right. Dante Carver moved into Japan from the US back in 2005 and became renowned for his TV commercials, particularly SoftBank commercial, in which he was one of the leading actors in a fictional family led by Hokkaido Dog. Dante Carver took Japan by storm.
Japan is just about the last place I would put an African-American acting.
Yeah, that's also another reason I came, because it's something most people wouldn't expect.
The Virginia Commonwealth University International Business graduate uprooted to Japan 5 years ago, looking to boldly change his American path and try acting. With no family or connections in Japan, friends called him crazy. He taught himself Japanese, started auditioning, and landed the role that turned him into a familiar household face. He's even found love.
Dante Carver married former model, of course, Akiko Matsumoto back in 2010. Their wedding ceremony was conducted the following year.
What explains your success?
Being different, but being open. I say being different for, one, what people would expect of blatantly obvious.
Worst case scenario, I come here, I try getting into the business, I don't make it in the business, but I still learn something, and I get life experience. And I visit a country I haven't been to. What's the downside to that?
Japan is 98.6% ethnically Japanese. Anyone who is non-Japanese is treated differently, says Billboard magazine's Tokyo reporter.
Here, they come here and they feel a certain amount of racism, but it's the same for every non-Japanese person. Black people aren't singled out, where they are maybe in Western cultures, European cultures, or American culture.
Dante Carver, back in 2005, embarked on a trip to Japan with a couple of friends. Upon his visit, he decided to take some acting gigs on auditions to try his luck. He actually ended up landing the leading role of playing the eldest brother of a fictional Japanese family.
Is the pet? No.
Yes.
He's the father. And it throws everybody off. They're like, what? It's like, yes, he's the father. I'm the older brother. That's my mom and sister. And the range of the commercial is so far out there. When they give you the script, just don't try making sense of it, because it'll either click immediately and it's like, oh, okay, or it's these little subtle nuances and plays on words that make it interesting.
おい、俺の信玄餅知らないか？知らないわ。お前が食べただろ。知りません。食べただろ。食べてません。嘘を言うな。顔に食べたって書いてある。聞いてるのか？食べてないって。白状しろ。しつこいな、父。親に向かって言う言葉が。You're not my father anymore. お兄ちゃん。お前とはもう親子の縁を切る。あなた。出てけ。あ、出てくよ。いや、待て。
When I first got here, it was just to visit my friends. And within the first week, I got scouted by 4 agencies. There's at 121 auditions that I didn't get. And half my friends like, dude, I would have given up around like 20 or 30. It's like, yeah, that's the easy way. It's always easier to quit than to keep going. Because at that point, I had literally $130 in my account. So I took the $130, came up to Tokyo, because at that time I was living in Osaka. Stayed at my little brother's place. Went to the job. When I got there, I was only as an extra. The director heard me joking around in the background of the kansai band. He was like, hey, can you read these lines? I was like, sure. He's like, sumimasen, kitamasen, just. I'm like, hey, can you come into the office? Like, sure. What's up there? Just the wrong. Like, we want to contract you. Like, what? Outside of it being a big shock, it was a welcomed response, because that's what I wanted.
And in 2008, Carver was voted the most popular and most recognized male actor in a TV commercial in Japan. Surprisingly, he beat Takuya Kimura, who had since held that role 8 years prior. Carver defied gravity. He left the US, and his whole life he thought he knew, and embarked on a new adventure into Japan. Tried his chance with acting and hit the big time. He was literally everywhere in Japan. Billboard, posters, he was on the train. He was so recognized you couldn't go past him.
Hey guys, so I'm in a bathroom in SoftBank, and I always knew that me and Dante would meet in the bathroom one day. But while we're at it, how about I get to know you? Or the dog.
When I was living in Japan myself, I aspired to be Carver. He wasn't just recognized, he was very much likable. He was everywhere in Japan. Everyone wanted a piece of Carver. I mean, who didn't want to be Dante Carver while living in Japan?
Does it change your perception of what it's like to be an African American in America?
Yes and no. I would say no, because I still think America's going to need a little more time. In some ways, we still have those basic blocks we got to break and get out of.
Shockingly enough, that CNN news coverage was filmed back in 2010. Now in 2020, unfortunately, we are still witnessing racial injustices, social injustices, tension amongst our communities, distrust for law enforcement in the United States, many parts of Europe, and all over the world.
いい音だ。誰の真似ですか？見ればわかる。モーツァルトだ。おばちゃんかと思った。おばちゃんじゃない。ブンブン震えてるぞ。ここ。
It's quite remarkable when you do think about it, how one can leave his home country, a country that he's supposed to feel more safe, more welcomed, more at home in, and actually embark on a decision. And it's not an easy decision to make, but make a decision to venture off into another country whereby, in actual fact, he's treated even more better. He's welcomed. He finds himself in a predicament where he feels more at home in, as opposed to his home country. And that, my friends, is the concept of unplugging from the matrix, leaving what we think we know about our home country, about society, ideologies and values that are fed to us, and instead revolting, being a bit, I guess, rebellious, and embark on a quest whereby we kind of do a bit of soul searching and find ourselves.
Oh, hey, what's up? And they try and give you the old 80s style dap, which is just mind-boggling sometimes. Especially since
hand styles grip.
For me, learning Japanese, I didn't officially learn until November, the end of November, beginning of December of 2010. Before that, any Japanese I learned was basically situational or from scripts. Literally. So it's like someone hear me speaking and something, it's like because I would memorize it from a script I had in a drama or from a movie shoot. Of course, even then it was difficult because there's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of repeating and listening to someone that I didn't know, or like say my manager. And the upside and downside to that is everyone has a different way of saying the same thing.
In layman's terms, unplugging from the matrix entails breaking away from shared beliefs longly held by our friends, family members, peers, superiors, the media, and loved ones. The concept forces us to take a hard look at ourselves and make drastic changes. We are forced to live life to our own accord. We choose autonomy.
I think that's a huge lesson right there. I think that's something people need to think about. Why would somebody face as great a challenge in their home country as a place as foreign as Japan?
So you've accumulated a bit of a crowd over here.
Konbanwa. Hi, konnichiwa.
We need to have an action plan here to get you out.
That's no problem. I can dip out and cut up the street.
Dante Carver was a perfect example of an ultra alpha male. Charming, articulate, intelligent, and ambitious man who was willing to do whatever it took to reach mountains. He led with his ambition as opposed to rational thought, but in a pragmatic sense, whereby Dante Carver did not lean on his own understanding. Instead, he led by the goal, by the vision of success. He was prepared to put the hard work in to reap the rewards of success.
I would
Dante.
say, for the most part, what I'd like people to take from it is a sense of self. That and being able to see how people react with each other in another city. And, you know, with their love lives and social lives.
スマホアのサービス対するビビ割り
ビビ割りはお前のお姉さんだ。
違います。
Quiet, please.
すいません。
スマホはビビ割りスマホはビビ割り
お父さん
スマホとセットでスマホビビ割り
Quiet, please.
加えてます。
Dante Carver's success took him as far as being in a comfortable position to even record commercials with Tommy Lee Jones, an A-list actor. Dante Carver found himself spreading, relaxing, and chillaxing high above the clouds, with no fear in sight. Dante Carver was living his best life. He really was. He was well liked, well loved, and hugely popular.
Did you get to meet Tommy Lee Lin, was it?
Yeah, I actually got to work with all of them at that time, and it was fine. Well, not fine, it was fun. But it was fine work. He's quite funny. I don't know if people realize that, but, you know, here in Japan, he has this image of being very serious. And when he's working, of course, he's very professional and serious. And when the camera's not rolling, we're sitting there and we're just cracking jokes and just having a good time.
We can all learn a lot from Dante. His humility, his humbleness, and his appreciation for everyone in sight. He is the 21st century good guy on the block.
新春にふさわしく芸能界にそんな中からこの人が登場俳優モデルのダンテ・カーバーさんです
One thing is to be hugely popular and well known. Another thing is to be hugely admired, loved by millions. Dante Carver was loved in Japan and still is. He often makes regular TV appearances in TV talk shows and game shows. Who didn't want to be associated with Dante Carver, the man himself? Who didn't want to cash in on action and get a piece of the piece of the great man himself? Arming himself with Japanese proficiency, Dante Carver was a regular TV attraction.
Amazon did. Maybe they're doing the costumes for it now.
Really?
Possibly. We'll see. But moving on, letting you know a few other points from tonight. 今夜のカウントダウンイベントで、代官山スタヤとトイザラス、ベイビーザラス、池袋サンシャインシティと渋谷ロフトは、限定の商品は出ます。So, for Sunshine City,
300 limited
Toys
people.
R Us, Babies R Us, Daikanyama Staya, and Shibuya Loft will have special events for special shohin to be viewed today from midnight.
And limited 300 only at Shibuya
Yes,
Loft.
Shibuya Loft is only 300. So right now you have to check on Amazon to Rakuten website.
Just like that, Carver's acting career took off and erupted in Japan. Anything Carver touched turned to gold. Carver was a household name. Everyone wanted to be associated with him, wanted to be in his presence and blessed by it. Carver couldn't do anything wrong. Although we move from 2008 to 2010 to 2020, Carver is still very much popular and loved and admired in Japan. It's hard enough to make it in the big time. However, it's even far harder to keep the momentum and the public perception going towards your favor. Carver was very influenced by Will Smith and tried to follow in his footsteps.
Will Smith is one of my favorite artists and actors, mainly because he's a people person. He's honest with people outside of his job. So it's like the 3 times that I've met him here in 3 different areas for 3 different reasons, he was always the same. He didn't change. He was still charismatic. He wasn't one of those where it's like, I'm Will Smith and, you're beneath me. He's never been that way. He's one of those people where kept me inspired because I could see what he wanted from when he would, when he would talk to us. And then I would see what he would do. And to have that level of motivation and determination, it's like you can't help but respect it. People don't like mistakes, but you should cherish mistakes because it's what you learn from. It's what makes you stronger. It's what makes you grow. I've made a lot of mistakes. There's been a lot of things that I haven't been able to do for various reasons, but that's also my motivation to keep pushing. Success isn't just about money and fame and things. It's enjoying what you do. I mean, if you can do the same job you're doing now and love it and not have to worry about money and things, of course, that's great. But loving what you do, that's hard.
Dante Carver made it his mission to connect with as many people as possible in Japan, including the Deaf Association community. He often made appearances to their globalized televised events, in which he was always the main star and the charismatic hero to be.
Sorry. You should do it with 2 hands, right? Like sumimasen, 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 sumimasen. That'd be really hard. It's like doing this, right? So,
何やってんだあいつら。早く出てこい。お客さん待ってるから。先に歌っといて。後で踊るから。後で2倍踊るから。遅すぎます。お前ら代わりに踊ってこい。はい、お父さん。
Han couldn't get enough of Carver. He was everywhere on mainstream media.
あ、ここについてますよ。ありがとうございます。ちょっと。あ、すみません。何ですか。肩凝ってないですか。
It's hilarious because you don't need to speak Japanese to understand what on earth is exactly going on.
先輩、何ですか？好きです。もう get the fuck out.
It's always easier to give up. It's hard to keep going, but anything worth having, it's not going to be easy.
Exactly. But was it a difficult move? Obviously, you speak perfect Japanese. How long did that take?
Oh, no, I definitely don't speak perfect Japanese. Thank you for the compliment.
That's okay.
I didn't speak Japanese when I got here, actually. And moving to Japan actually wasn't too difficult because family moved around a lot when I was a kid. So I went to an international school. So I've always been around multiple cultures at once. And I actually like that because you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself, other cultures, and just people in general. And I think it's something people should try and do as often as possible.
なんか見られてる気がするな。
お父さん、あれ
なんだ。
湿ったハイされてます。
俺じゃないか。
あそこにも。
あそこもだ。逃げるぞ。
あそこにも。
まただ。
で、お父さん、何悪さしたんですか？
そういえば。
あ、Wi-Fi。
お父さん、これでバレません。
これ逆に目立ってるじゃないか。
Wi-Fi スポット数No.1ソフトバンク。
But yes, but how did obviously so you did the phone advert?
Still doing it. Actually.
You're still doing it, so that's an ongoing gig.
Usually it's not.
Okay.
And this isn't like tooting my own horn or anything, but I'm the only non-Japanese person that has had a contract with a sponsor like that, specifically in the mobile device for this long, which I didn't know until a few years ago when someone actually researched and brought it to my attention. Because I figured, it happens all the time, and I'm just lucky that I'm consistently working with the company. No, it's quite rare.
So what does the future hold in store for Dante Carver? Trials and tribulations have passed. What now for the great man, the Japanese mogul, best of the best?
A lot of things that have happened in the past couple years that have been both good and bad, life. So right now, this is basically the time to kind of recover and move forward and continue looking forward, because the plan is to make the initial jump back home. Doesn't mean I'm giving up my base here, because I still love all the fans that I have here and all the support that I have here. People have been great. I still love being here in Japan. It's been a blessing in disguise in many ways. But if I gave up here, it's kind of mottainai, and I don't want to do that. So.
Dante Carver was even featured in video games. He was brought in by the Resident Evil franchise for their Vendetta series, whereby he was hired as a motion capture actor. He was highly influential and instrumental.
You're dealing with things that could easily be explained and things that can't be explained mixed together. The universe of the Resident Evil series itself is just so rich and unique. I think that's one reason why they can pretty much do whatever they want to. Where other franchises, they have to stick within a certain parameter.
Well, Capcom did make it easy for Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Yes, they did, yeah. That was really smooth how they added that in there. Yeah, I like that. That and game-wise, the way that they've done it so far, you could pretty much go in any direction with the same characters from before, new characters. You can almost retell the same story and just change the points of view. So, which has happened. So it's pretty cool. It's weird and cool at the same time. There's a lot of times where you'll have it too close and they actually have to dumb it down, which is really weird when you see it happen. It's like, wow, that looks really awesome. Yeah, we gotta bring it back a little. It's a little too realistic. It's like, oh, okay. But seeing how it's done in this one, I really enjoyed, because even when we're filming it, we have the head rigs and it's actually recording all of our facial expressions real time, as opposed to having the dots everywhere. We do have those, but it's usually on the body. So taking those two forms of technology and mixing them together, I thought was really, really interesting.
I've been here and been fairly successful for the past 11 years. So, knock on wood. So I don't want to give that up. But at the same time, I just like everybody else, I need to grow. So I need to do other things that also help me grow as a person and as an actor. So I will still continue working here, but on the other side, I'll also keep focusing on doing more projects like that.
Dante Carver is determined to move on to newer and better endeavours.
Kussa! 誰かお願いしましたお前したら
してねえよ
じゃあ本田さん
バカじゃないの違うわよ
すいませんっていうことは
違いますよ。
ダンテ気にすんなってくっそ
何言ってるんですか？
やめろって
そうよやめなさいよ
ダンテがねおならしました
あなたの方から匂って切ったんじゃないですか？さっきちゃんと見ましたよ。
ひってダンテ人になすりつけんなよ
You're the fucking bastard.
I actually find it so funny how they put the English titles in English after Dante speaks.
Hi guys and welcome back to Games Radar and Comic Con 2017. Now right now I'm here with Aaron and Dante who are in the new Resident Evil Vendetta movie, right?
Yes.
Aaron, you play Rebecca Chambers. Dante, you did a lot of the motion cap work, but also in a character, right?
DC is also me, and the only character that's made specifically to look just like the actor who's portraying it.
He's gonna use the trigger virus on New York?
They told me who they were looking at, and I've been a Power Ranger fan for a long time. So it's like, wait, I have a choice of maybe taking a small part and doing it like a month or so after, or I could have my character made and work with two of my favorite Power Rangers. So it's like, yeah, I'm in.
The starring in highly successful marketing campaigns, or being a pioneer, face runner, to leaving the American dream and finding his own dream, one that had many doubters, many disbelievers. Dante Carver conquered. He conquered his own dream. He led by example. Sheer fight, defiant in nature. Carver had it all. Likeable, charming, unarticulate. He conquered, and he truly was the best of the best in Japan. It's just another day for Dante Carver. It's just another pleasant walk in the park. This is the tale about an African American, I should say, leaving the American dream, so to speak, and daring to venture out in the wilderness and construct his own dream. One that should see him conquer. One that many people could not grasp, nor comprehend, not articulate or understand. You only need one person to believe, and that's yourself. And Dante Carver truly believed in himself.
My name is Dante Carver, and I'll be your host for this evening.
Do something today that your future self will thank you for. That very same quote is echoed by Zinziger when he stated that there's no shortcut to success. I'm afraid you have to take the stairs. Dante Carver was more than willing to take any stairs to success. He executed his plan perfectly well, while not also familiar with how it will end. However, he was willing to take the chance, to take the leap of faith. You don't have to be great to start, We have to start to be great. Dante Carver, Best of Japan, remember the name.